Hello, and thank you for joining us again. We were just having some technical issues, but we are back. We are Tidal Flooding Talk, and we're brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition and filmed live every Sunday here at the Irish Pub in Atlantic City.
And I'm meteorologist Dan Skelton. Hopefully the audio's better. And if it's not, you guys will let us know, and I appreciate it. It is 3 o'clock on Sunday. We are here normally at 7. This week we've decided we're not going to compete against the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll leave that to the Bears. And we're not going to compete with Eagles fans. Irish Pub will be crowded. So this week, and we'll have to see about the next few weeks, we'll adjust the times. So it's 3 o'clock, normally 7. But we really appreciate you guys being here.
We have Sean O'Leary here today. He works for S.J. Hauck Construction, which is a home elevation contractor. And he's going to tell us how he got started working in flood mitigation.
Yes, thank you, Palma. So again, my name is Sean O'Leary, and I'm the Business Development Manager for S.J. Hauck Construction. Not only am I a Business Development Manager, I'm also the Certified Floodplain Manager for them. So S.J. Hauck is the largest turnkey home elevation contractor in the entire Northeast, which, as we were mentioning a little earlier, what turnkey means is I take your project from soup to nuts, okay? There are people out there that will just go and lift houses, whereas I have a team that'll take you from the design stage all the way to when you get your certificate of occupancy. What we aim to provide is a full, complete package for you, so that way you're not just getting a piece of us. We're guiding the project from start to finish, making it as easy as possible for you, the homeowner.
Now, how do you get involved with this to begin with? I know in our first take you said graduated with a marketing stance.
Yes.
So how do you take that marketing stance into home elevation and raising homes and so on?
So I went to St. Joe's University. I was a marketing major up there. I graduated in 2013, and then in March of 2014, I got asked to come join a home elevation contractor, not S.J. Hauck. It was actually a competitor of theirs. They were involved with a grant program that kind of changed gears. They started to allow homeowners to choose their own contractor. So this home elevation contractor needed somebody to learn the grant process in order to properly convey the entire process to the homeowners, to the grant applicants that were in it. So they needed somebody to, act as a salesperson as well as a project manager for them. So I began in this industry in 2014, answering phones. Didn't really have a clue what home elevations really were. However, over the course of time, not only did I learn what lifting houses was, but I also learned the entire process for building a foundation. I learned about the different renovations that were needed on these houses, like building decks, maybe replacing siding, adding garages underneath. So over the course of time, I picked up a little bit more, until finally it was June of 2016. I sat down, I took the test to become a certified floodplain manager, and I passed. Which at the time made me the youngest in the International Association of Structural Movers. That's a badge of honor that I really like wearing. So that's how I got started with it.
And I think pre-Sandy, not too many people along the Jersey Shore, residents or even professionals, knew much about home elevation and their elevation certificates and raising homes and so on and so forth. Sandy was kind of the spark that set a lot of stuff into motion.
Absolutely. Prior to Hurricane Sandy, S.J. Hauck primarily moved structures. They would shore up foundations. They'd fix failing foundations and everything. And it was Hurricane Sandy that really ignited the spark here and gave us the boom. From really 2013 to 2017 were kind of the crazy years for house lifting. A lot of things changed during that time. Prior to Hurricane Sandy, you did not need a license to lift a house in the state of New Jersey. You didn't need a separate, a separate insurance, a separate license. After Hurricane Sandy, all of a sudden, when the floodgates, pun intended, when the floodgates opened, a lot more regulations came into play. So really, the people that are doing it nowadays are the ones that are qualified, the ones that know what they're doing, making it a safe practice.
Now, I think people are also learning that elevating their home is not just lifting it, which is what you were saying.
Yes.
Could you sort of run through the process of a home elevation?
Absolutely. So,
and how long that process?
Yeah,
might
yeah,
take?
I'll get into all that. I mean, I get calls from people all the time, and one of the first things they ask is a ballpark price, okay? And it's so difficult to really do any of that without meeting with somebody and getting to know what they want out of the project, okay? Because it's not just lifting the house, okay? First and foremost, when somebody calls me, and if they do like my company, if they like our presentation, and they do like the price that I give them, they end up signing what's called a design build contract with me. As I mentioned in my turnkey speech a couple minutes ago, the first thing that we need to do is we need to get an engineer involved, okay? The engineer goes out, he gets a new survey of the property, he develops a plot plan, he does a soil boring. We need to know what kind of foundation you're going to need. We're going to need to know what your setbacks are for your different decks and whatnot. So first and foremost, for like the first month and a half of the project, we have the engineer involved. After that month and a half, and Palm, this is kind of where you come into play, we need as a contractor to apply for permits, okay? Now the permit process will last anywhere between 30 to 45 days on average. We always anticipate that maybe we get a revision needed or we need to clarify something on the plans. So that will take the 30 to 45 days. So before I can even put a shovel in the ground, I'm looking at about 3 months worth of work. Once we are able to pull permits and the house has been disconnected, the homeowner, our client, has moved out of the house, which we assist you with, I can actually begin the process of elevating. So I'll do any pre-lift demolition to the house. I'll take off any decks, any chimneys that aren't supposed to be elevated. Obviously, if you want to, we can keep them. But I will do my pre-lift demolition. I will then come in to lift the house. I will demolish the foundation if needed, build you a brand new one, set the house back down. At this point, I start building your new decks. I start reconnecting all your utilities, which is your electric, your plumbing, your HVAC. I do any interior renovations that you might want. I do any exterior renovations like new siding, okay, a new roof, if that's the case. Obviously, any new decking and everything. And then get you down to the punch list stage, which we go through and we make sure the house is all buttoned up, that there was no damage to the house. You, the homeowner, will then do the same thing. We get you all the way to a certificate of occupancy. Now, the normal project will last anywhere between, 3.5, 4 months up to 6 months, okay? A crawl space home is very simple because I don't need to do any work on the interior, any demolition in order to lift it. So a crawl space home, you're looking at about 4 months worth of construction. It could be less than that, but let's be safe here. A slab on grade home that requires interior renovations, you're looking at 5 to 6 months. And sometimes it could be more depending on what kind of renovations or extra work the homeowner would want me to do.
And does that include the 3 months before the shovel goes
No,
in the
it
ground?
doesn't.
So the 3 months would be the
Yes.
pre-lifting and construction, and then anywhere from 3 to 6 after that.
Yeah, 3 to 6. And that's where, ultimately, when people call me, they want to know how long they're going to be out of the house for, okay? At the same time, I lift houses for a lot of secondary homeowners. So these are people that might live down here at the beach. They only use the house in the summer, okay? I can't tell you how many calls I will get in August, in September, saying, hey, I want to lift my house and be back in by summer. Well, at that point, we might be looking at a 9-month project. So we always try and push people and encourage people to get the design work done and get the permit process done through the spring, through the summer, so that way I can break ground on your project in the fall and have you back in there by summer with no problems.
Now, is that your busy season? Like, are you allowed to lift homes in the summer?
Yes.
I know demolitions can't be done in a lot of short times in the summer.
Exactly.
Can you work year-round at what you do? And if so, when is the busy construction time
Yes,
for you?
so we can work at any point during the year. There are some towns with restrictions, as you mentioned. Places like Ocean City and North Wildwood, there are certain things that I can and cannot do. For instance, Ocean City, you can't do the demolition between Memorial Day to Labor Day. Also, when you go to drive new piles, there are certain regulations on at what time during the day you're allowed to do all that. My busy season, it really ramps up in October up until about Christmas. The time between Christmas and New Year's, this kind of 3-week period, it does get a little quiet. We're going to ramp back up again. And then construction itself always seems to slow down in the summer simply because my clients don't want to be out of their house in the summer. They want to enjoy the beach, and if this is your primary home down here, you also don't want to have to pay rent during the summer season because it's always a little bit more expensive. At that point, with us being a full turnkey contractor, I might not be doing as many home lifts in the summer, but I have my guys working on other projects to keep everybody busy.
Now, what are the greatest challenges of this, and what do you think is deterring people from elevating their homes?
So I would say probably the biggest challenge is managing expectations. Because it is a home elevation, okay, and as I mentioned when I was talking about all the turnkey, there's a lot of work involved with this, okay? This is not your weekend reno. This is not something where you're just going to redo a bathroom and redo a kitchen, okay? There's a lot of money that goes into this. So being able to establish a budget from the beginning and maintaining that budget for the entire time. One thing that's always a challenge is once we go and lift the house, I now have full access to the underside of the house, all right? We also see maybe the existing footing. Your engineer might have said we can rebuild on the existing foundation, and we go and lift the house, and now we see some unforeseens. The problem is my unforeseens are not, a little rotted wall here or there. I sometimes have the potential for a change order, which can be very expensive. So the important thing in managing the expectations from the beginning helps prepare homeowners, and it also prevents the need for a change order. We go over everything, and knowing the homeowner's expectations allow me to guide it under budget for the entire thing.
Now, is it a competitive business now? I mean, because the industry has grown in the last 6-7 years, are there a lot of options for homeowners? I mean, is it? There
are absolutely options out there. As I mentioned, not only, I do turnkey elevations, but there are times where just a local general contractor will call me and they're going to do the home elevation. I'm just going to do the lift. There are competitors of mine that are out there that are also lifting houses and doing everything full turnkey. After Hurricane Sandy, there was a ton of competition, much more than there is today. And that's simply because there was a lot of grant money that was out there. A lot of people were receiving insurance checks. So because there was a lot more volume, obviously there was a higher demand. There was a bigger need to have many home elevation contractors. Over the course of the last 2 years, as the federal money has started to slow down, a lot of the competition, some of the guys moved in here from out of state. Maybe they went back home.
Or they could follow areas recently hit by storms.
Exactly.
You see that where they migrate.
Yes.
Let's say they go to where hurricane
Right.
Matthew hit or Florence hit.
Right now the big area is Houston.
Okay.
A lot of people went down to Houston with Hurricane Harvey.
Right.
Exactly. Houston is, I think, and I'm, don't check me on Wikipedia here. I think it's the 4th or 5th largest metropolitan area in the country in terms of population. So there's a lot of homes down there. And just like Hurricane Sandy happened here, Hurricane Harvey happened there about a year and a half ago. Now federal money is starting to kick down there. So a lot of my competition did go and move down. One thing about S.J. Hauck, being that we grew up here, we were founded here, we all live here, we're never going to leave South Jersey, okay? We're always going to have our home here. We're looking at the possibility of sending some crews to help in other parts of the country, but our hub and our base of operations is always going to be the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Now, are there still possibly grants available? And if so, is that something that homeowners can contact you directly now?
Yes. When I first started in this industry, it was the New Jersey REM program, which about 7,000 people were approved for. The New Jersey REM program has kind of dried up. There's still some people in that program. But you would have had to apply prior to, I think, 2014 to even be a part of that program. Nowadays, FEMA is starting to come out with some new grant programs. Every single year, the NFIP puts aside a certain amount of money to what's called the flood mitigation assistance grants. A lot of people that can qualify for these grants, or at least are identified for these grants, are either severe repetitive loss properties or repetitive loss properties. And in a nutshell, a severe repetitive loss property is a home since, I think, 1978, has flooded 4 or more times, with each flood claim totaling over $1,000. Or you could be a repetitive loss structure, which is 2 flood claims over the course of a 10-year period, with each flood claim totaling over $5,000. I believe that's it, but point is, if you're one of these homes, chances are you've been identified, and you probably have received a letter from your local town. So different towns up and down the coast are applying for these grants, and they're either putting it out in their town newsletter, or they're identifying the homes directly with certified mail. The homeowners are receiving this mail, finding out that there is a grant application that the different towns are going to put forth, but there are certain criteria that they need. They need to fill out a homeowner's packet. They need to provide proof of an NFIP-backed flood insurance policy. And one of the things that they're going to need is also an estimate, a full turnkey estimate from a contractor. Now again, that's something where a homeowner will call me and let me know that they received this letter. Excuse me. That they received this letter, they could potentially qualify for a grant. They need the estimate, which I can go out and do, and that's a free service. Almost every contractor involved in my industry is going to go and give you a free estimate in the hopes of getting your work one day. There's other, as I mentioned earlier, local contractors can probably write one up for you. They're going to want to contact me, though, for the lift number. So anyway, you end up getting this full comprehensive estimate, which gets submitted to the town, and the local grant writer is going to comprise a grant application. The grant application, they're going to try and get as many severe repetitive loss and repetitive loss houses on this. Now the good thing is, these grants, once they come back from FEMA, you know that that money is there. The difference to, say, the REM program a couple years ago is the homeowners, the grant applicants in this case, will not receive any money up front. This is a totally reimbursable grant, okay? Some people will qualify for 75% of eligible cost. Some people will qualify for 90%, and some lucky ones will get 100%. And I say lucky, tongue-in-cheek, because the lucky ones are the ones that have flooded so many times, okay? So you might be getting 100% of the home, of the cost of the home elevation. The problem is, obviously, you flooded so many times before that it is a bit of a pain. So anyway, the people that qualify for these grants, it's all reimbursable, which means a homeowner is going to have to go out and get some kind of financing, because unfortunately, as a contractor, I can't afford to do your entire project and then float that bill and wait for you to get reimbursed. The good thing is, these grants, as opposed to the previous ones, once the job is done, if all your invoices are buttoned up, the I's dotted, T's are crossed, on average you're going to get your check back from FEMA within 30 to 60 days, which is much quicker than any grant in the past.
Now, not to hold you to it, but could you give us an idea of how much this project would cost? I mean, I know each home is different, but even just a ballpark.
Absolutely. It's a little different as opposed to, say, when you're building a brand new home, right? Sometimes you might call a local builder, whether it be in Atlantic City where we are here, or in Ocean City, or Cape May, wherever. If you call a custom builder, they're going to give you a square foot price based on what they've done recently, and that could be, $300, $400, $500 a square foot. Mine's a little different because each scope, depending on what you kind of want to put into it, is going to be different. There are some elevations where I just want the bare minimum. There's also some elevations where I want to lift the house, I want to put a garage underneath, I want to redo all my decks and things like that. What I have found is, if you look at the footprint of your home, all right? If you look at the footprint, and whether it be a 2-story or 3-story home, doesn't matter. If you look at the footprint of a crawl space home on average, you're going to be between $130 to $160 a square foot. All right. If you have a split-level home, now split-level homes are common in, say, Ventnor Heights for some of our viewing audience. The split-level has part of the house on a crawl space, part of the house is slab on grade. You're looking at about $160 to $180 a square foot in that situation. And when it comes to a slab on grade home, and these are the ones that are just sitting right on the ground, you're going to be looking at $180 a square foot plus. And the challenge with a slab on grade home is whatever you have on that ground floor, in order for me to lift it, I need to put my steel through the walls. So everything from 4 feet down ends up getting gutted. These are your kitchens, these are your bathrooms, all your drywall and everything. So I need to lift it, I need to rebuild a flooring system, and I need to put new flooring down, whether it be carpet, linoleum, or tile and hardwood and everything. So it is a little tough. I always encourage people, and as I mentioned earlier about giving ballpark pricing, it's tough. Without me actually going out, measuring your house, talking to you, knowing what your expectations are, it's tough for me to do that on the phone. But I also have some people that will call me that maybe want to buy a house. In that case, I can do the ballpark pricing just because I am able to tell you whether you're going to go forward and purchasing the house or not.
It's nice to see you guys can hear us now. Kristen Kaiser, rooting for the Eagles today, as I'm sure probably most of you guys are. Not all. I know there's a Cowboy fan or two in South Jersey that are happy about last night. Giants. Probably not too many more Patriots. Roger Cope, glad you got the sound fixed. Thought he was watching Bird Box, which have you guys seen yet?
Not yet.
Yes, it is a really
Is it as good as everyone
movie,
says?
seriously, yes.
Wayne Fritz from Lower Township. Hi, nice to you. Tracy Ann says, thanks for the good info, Sean. Greetings from Cape May Courthouse, Robert Egan. Nice to have you on. Kelly Munn thinks he's cute, and I know she's not talking about me, so there you go. John Lockwood, Happy New Year to you. Ben Murphy, nice to have you on. Jeff Davis as well. Again, 3 p.m. this Sunday, and as long as the Eagles are playing at 7 p.m. any future Sunday, we'll see. I'm forecasting them to win. I think you guys are too.
Oh, yeah.
Or hope
well, my
anyway.
heart, my heart is open, yep.
Yeah, and meteorologists never mess up a forecast, so you know that'll come true. Robert Kaiser says Sean O'Leary with some exclamation points.
Rob's actually Rob is the sales manager out at SJ Hauck. So hey, okay. Rob, thanks for joining on. Make sure you share this on our Facebook page too.
And game's at I think 4:30, 4:40.
4:40. Yes.
All right. I guess my question to you is, grants go down, so you slow up a little bit. I know you're still busy, but right, grants go down. Do you think we get further removed from a storm? You know, we don't have a big ticket Sandy or Jonas or a big ticket storm. Do you think complacency goes up too? Do you think you need a big storm to spread? Oh my God, we can get hit. We got to do something.
Right.
And the farther you get from it, do you think people forget about it?
Yeah,
a little
absolutely.
bit.
One of the things when people call me on the phone and when I'm talking to them about elevating their house. There's a couple of reasons why they're calling me, right? And after a major storm, even it be a nor'easter like Winter Storm Jonas or something, or any nuisance flooding, I am going to get calls from that area because they saw the waters encroach and they got nervous. I'm also starting to get more and more calls as people are starting to realize their flood insurance keeps going up. Now, with the NFIP in debt, the National Flood Insurance Program in debt, with the Grim Waters Act, with the Biggert Waters Act, people are starting to see incrementally their flood insurance increase. So I'm still getting a steady workload from that. It's not the heyday that was after Hurricane Sandy. A lot of people might be buying these houses and they're not thinking about it because maybe they're not from the area. And they're not thinking about the flooding that can occur from, say, somebody that was there during Sandy. But, I'm staying steady, and we know that anytime that there's a storm that might brush by the coast or the threat of a nor'easter, I'm going to come in that Monday, and I'm going to have some voicemails from people that I need to get in touch with because that fear factor is there. Right. But as flood insurance keeps increasing, I'm anticipating on more of a steady flow over the next couple years.
I mean, I think most residents on our barrier islands know why they should elevate their home, but maybe you could tell us more of those benefits, such as the saving on the flood insurance.
If you end up, and I'm not an insurance salesperson, so I can't give you the facts. Definitely somebody like Tom Heist, who you've had on here before, would be able to, but if you end up elevating your home and you're 3 or 4 feet above the base flood elevation, no matter what size the house is, you're going to be somewhere between like $500, $600, $700 a year, maybe even less. Whereas there are some people that might be paying a couple $1,000s a year for their flood insurance. Another big thing, when I elevate these homes, almost everybody wants to put, a garage or another story underneath. Now, that area is obviously below the base flood elevation, which means that you can't make it habitable space, you can't make it living space. But people will throw a garage underneath, they'll use that area for storage. I've seen people create workshops and gyms, playrooms down there. There are certain things which you can do, there's certain things which you can't do. You can't add utilities down there, you can't put bedrooms down there, but people certainly make use of that space. I'm getting more calls nowadays as people are starting to buy these large homes along the shore. They have the intentions of maybe renovating the house and not tearing down the house completely, but renovating. So as a result, if you end up renovating a house that is below the base flood elevation over 50%, you're going to end up needing to bring that entire house into compliance with today's codes. As a result, you might need to elevate. Now, it's a little tough for some people. They maybe want to renovate a bathroom and a kitchen, and they can't fork out, over $100,000 to do a whole complete home elevation. But there are some people out there that want to do it. They are currently grandfathered into a couple of setbacks, so they want to elevate in order to keep the size of the house. So I'm starting to get more calls like that. That's one of the big benefits. But ultimately, what we like to say is the best benefit is the next time that a Hurricane Sandy storm does come by here, you can, sleep easy knowing that your house is going to be safe, that you're going to end up coming back to the house and not have to have months and months of renovation work. You're not going to lose any valuables in the storm. So that's ultimately the best thing that we can offer.
Or a nor'easter like Jonas.
Exactly.
The thread is 12 months long, right? Nor'easters in the winter, spring, fall, hurricanes in the summer. Been pretty quiet lately, and no big storms, no flooding. Knock on wood, exactly. 2019 been flood-free more or less so far. So we hope that does continue. Again, Tidal Flooding Talk brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition, sponsored also by the Irish Pub. We are here every Sunday, 7 p.m. normally, 3 p.m. during the football playoffs. As long as the Eagles are involved in the playoffs. The Patriots are playing next Sunday at 7 p.m. I think we'll be here. I may be a little distracted, but we will be here.
Now, do you want to tell our audience here how they could reach SJ Hauck or learn more about this elevation process?
Absolutely. So we have a full office staff of 17 people at SJ Hauck, so we're always there to answer the phone, all right? The best thing that you can do if you're interested in this, okay? I mean, everybody, I know you talk to your neighbors, you can go and talk to your local building departments, okay? But give us a ring. I have absolutely no problem talking to you on the phone, coming out to meet with you. Our phone number at SJ Hauck is 609-927-6700. You can also go on sjhauckconstructionllc.com. That's our new website. That's right. So you can go and check out our website. There's information there.
Are you also on Facebook?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. But ultimately, the best thing you can do is get in touch with somebody, whether it be myself or, as I mentioned, we had Rob kind of chime in here. Get in touch with one of us. We're happy to help you, guide you through this process. Again, all estimates from us are free, okay? And we'll help guide you in the right direction. Sometimes for people, elevating the house is not your best option. I'm going to make sure, if that's the case, I steer you in the right direction to fulfill all your needs and help you out as best as we can.
Well, we would like to thank you for joining us, of course, with an Irish Pub t-shirt.
There you go. Thank you very much.
All right.
It's Eagles green too.
It is quite appropriate. So thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here. First
Thank you,
guest
Sean.
of the new year.
Happy
Sean was
New
here
Year.
back in the spring.
May? It
of
was your
last
birthday.
year. It was my birthday.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, your birthday.
So that'd be April of last year. So this Sean Tidal Flooding Talk will definitely be archived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one, not because he's an Eagles fan, went missing somehow. But this one will be archived. All our shows archives on the Tidal Flooding Talk Facebook page and my Facebook page as well. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for
We'll see you
having
next
me.
week.
To a great 2019.